If your business is stuck at under $1 million, you're in the danger zone, and most founders never escape this. I have helped over 250 entrepreneurs become millionaires from scratch using the frameworks that we're going to talk about today. I am Craig Ballantyne, the host of Early Rise Radio. I'm here with Galel Fajardo, and Galel's going to grill me on how you can start scaling your business.
All right, let's jump right in, Craig. Why is it that so many entrepreneurs, they hit a ceiling around $500K a year in revenue?
So most entrepreneurs are ambitious. They want to do a ton of things, and they have a very hard time delegating. In fact, I say that the 5 most deadly words for an entrepreneur are I will do it myself. And if you're stuck at that $500,000 to $1 million range, maybe even $1 million or $2 million, you are doing everything yourself because maybe you come from a blue collar background, or maybe you just don't trust anyone, or maybe you have no idea how to go out, hire and delegate, find contract workers, and it's all new to you. Well, the thing is, those are golden handcuffs and you're going to stay there for a long time. I also find that most people in this range are what I call, and what we call, wild horses. They are super ambitious and they're running from one thing to another thing, and they're bouncing all over the place, chasing shiny objects because you've had some success and you think, oh, well, I'll try this other thing and it will give me success. And you heard about this guru and they're telling you to do this. And the next thing you know, you're just like brain dead at night because you tried a million things. You never got any progress. You did 10% on 10 projects, and rather than doing 100% on one project. So what we want to do are use these frameworks to take somebody from that wild horse to what we call a lion leader, a lion in their business. And those are the people that are able to scale.
So what are the hidden costs though, like personally and professionally, when somebody's trying to grow their business and they're stuck in this wild horse era of their life?
Yeah, this is a great question. And so there was a guy who came into our community, our mentorship community, our school community, our entry point into our coaching. And he's a doctor, a very specialized doctor, and he runs a very good clinic.
Yeah.
He's starting off in a new city and he's working on getting new clients, but he's also enthralled by social media. And so he's telling me about how he's trying to get new clients and partnerships for the clinic. But one of my first videos on TikTok went viral. And I won't say I know this, but I'm very, very strong in my belief that TikTok is like, it gives you the first one free and the rest of them cost money, like, crack. And so if you go on TikTok, if you start a brand new TikTok account and you do, 5 videos, one of them will have an amazing number of views. And they do this to fool you into thinking that your videos are going to be that way.
Yeah.
So he's been distracted. He's been distracted by this. Now he's also married with kids. And so what are his main things? Family and the clinic. And where's his brain focused on? TikTok, because of the dopamine hits that viral video has given him. And he sent me a message and he said, recently I've been burning the candles at both ends and I'm getting in a little bit of trouble with it. And those are the costs. The costs where you are not focused on what matters in your personal life and your professional life and your business, because you're that wild horse. And that wild horse that's addicted to instant feedback and addicted to trying new things. And that is going to destroy you. So you're going to go up, mediocre rise, and you're going to have a mediocre crash if you don't put in these frameworks as boundaries for you to have consistent, sustainable success.
So let's talk about that. What are those frameworks that an entrepreneur need to create in order to scale past those 7 figures, but do so sustainably?
Yeah, so the first framework is the ADE formula. So automation, delegation, and elimination. And so what we need to do are put these into your business. And so we have a client, and one of the things that I've been working with him for years, and every so often, he runs an e-com business. Every so often when I say, pull out the AD formula, which is simply just a scrap paper with A, D, and E, and 3 lines down it, and I say, all day long, look at what you're doing, and then assign what you're doing to one of those categories, A, D, E. It's like this spring cleaning that you have to do a couple times per year in your daily routines, because even when we get dialed in, most people, they have these bad habits of going back and doing everything themselves, not wanting to ask other people to do it. And I had that problem for a long time, is that I didn't want to ask people who had already hired in my business. I felt bad asking them to do some of the work that they should have been doing, because I thought, who am I to ask this person to go and upload a video when I can upload my own video? And so even I had those golden handcuffs on myself, but that will keep you stuck at that position. So we have him all day long. If he's doing something, can I automate this? Can I use AI? Can I use any of these softwares so that it can be done without me? And in most cases, any data entry, any numbers, analysis of stuff, now it can really fall into that AI and A category. Next is delegation. What work is he doing in his e-com business that other people on his team could do instead of him and probably do better than him, which is another thing that most entrepreneurs don't like to admit, that, my goodness, I'm the best at doing this. No one else can come into my online fitness business and create workout programs. Only I can do this. Or, coach, it's all baloney. Like every single one of my coaches, you, Shannon, Daniel, Gavin, you are all better coaches than I am. I know more people than you guys do, but other than that, I'm not a superior coach. But most other entrepreneurs think that nobody can make the pies, nobody can, sell the stuff as good as I can. And that's false. You've got to get over that. So that's the delegation part. And then the elimination is people have bad habits, people have distractions, people have vices, people take the path of least resistance. We need to be ruthless at looking at where somebody is doing that over the course of the day, whether they should be working on something very hard, but instead they're looking at college football scores. Like that stuff has to go, and we have to build systems around it to protect yourself from those time vampires. And so when you use the ADE formula, the next thing you know, you have a 60-hour work schedule. Well, you actually have about a 30-hour work schedule, and 30 hours are wasted. So we can claw you back that time. And somebody's thinking 30 hours. Listen, we once had a guy named Omar. He was working 85 hours in his business. Yeah. After 7 days of using our systems, he was down to 35 hours, and his business was making more money, and his expenses went up a little bit. And he went from 85 hours a week to 35 hours, and we had another guy in the home inspection area go from 60 to 40. Those are huge jumps, but they're not atypical in our business when people are doing too much stuff because they are the wild horse. So the ADE framework is the first place that we start everybody with, and it gives you back more time either for your family or to do more profitable stuff.
On this subject of ADE and scaling, I have to throw in like a little personal anecdote here, right? Like I've been open about me and ADHD. And when you have ADHD, you're seeking more and more and more, right? You want more dopamine, more things. So automation sounds exciting because it's a new tool I can buy, a new thing I can learn, right? And I would tell anybody who's an ADHD entrepreneur, elimination is so essential for ADHD entrepreneurs, because you want to do more and more and more, and cutting back to the essential is absolutely huge, and we've seen it with our clients.
Yeah, we use the phrase success through subtraction, and everybody thinks you have to add more and more stuff. But if you think about like the diet analogy, because it's so simple, if you eat a pizza every night, but you think that by adding a green juice to your diet is going to make you healthy and thin, you're fooling yourself. Yeah. Elimination of the pizza is the solution. So it's the same in business. If you think that, oh man, if I go and buy, this new sales and marketing book that's out, and there's a lot that are out, that all of a sudden that's magically going to help me scale my business. But, you spend 5 hours a day watching Netflix. Well, just getting rid of the Netflix is going to be the thing that sets you free. Getting rid of alcohol is going to be the thing that sets you free. Getting rid of vices and toxic people and toxic environments. We go there first and wipe that stuff off the table so that you really don't need more information. You need to get rid of the golden handcuffs and the ball and chain that are holding you back. And that's when you're going to go from an amateur entrepreneur to an elite entrepreneur.
So going back to, I think it's 256 millionaires that you've coached.
Yeah.
Going back to those clients, thinking about those entrepreneurs, can you think of somebody who was maybe stuck or had plateaued their growth? They implemented these systems you're talking about, and then it was kind of like a hockey stick where they went and generated millions?
Yeah, so my friend Vince Del Monte started the pandemic. He had 3 businesses that he was trying to run. And he had a wife and 3 kids, and guys always working out. So that's a lot of demands on his schedule. And I had spent some time, at his house drawing out his custom perfect week formula down in the basement on his whiteboard and everything. And when the pandemic came around, he was scared, but I saw the huge opportunity for him if he was willing to cut 2 of the businesses. Because I said to him, Vince, you have 3 businesses that really are full-time. And obviously you can't do that. And each one of them was kind of stuck at that $1 million mark. And I said, drop this one, because honestly, it was a sports supplement. He wasn't a great marketer. His price points were wrong. He was struggling with it, but he wanted to do it because a lot of other people were doing it.
Sure.
So I just said, no, you can't run that business. And then there was another business that he thought he had to have for credibility purposes, but it was taking up so much time and energy. He didn't love it anymore. And then he finally had this third opportunity, which is his coaching business that he has today. And I said, Vince, this is going to make you rich if you are willing, strong enough to say no. And again, if you go back to what we were talking about at the start of this video, people who are stuck and struggling are wild horses because they're bouncing from one thing to another, whether it's a marketing technique, new marketing technique, or a new social media, or they're bouncing between the three businesses that they own. And to Vince's credit, he said no to those two businesses. He stopped the supplement, sold the rest of his stock, whatever inventory he had. He said, all right, I'm going to trust you that I don't have to be out there selling fitness programs anymore in order to have credibility to coach the fitness entrepreneur. And he went all in on that. And I think he 10x that business in the next 2 years, partly because of the trends. But I saw that trend that online coaching for fitness pros was going to explode because of the pandemic. And things just changed dramatically for him. So that was an opportunity where the elimination of actual businesses, not habits, not vices, not doing too much marketing stuff and techniques, but actually eliminating businesses set him financially free.
No, that's a great example, and Vince has grown a massive business, seen a lot of success since then. That's huge. Okay, so that's the first framework, Craig. What's the second framework?
The second framework, the second most important framework, is the framework of the perfect week formula. So you've automated and delegated and eliminated a lot of stuff off your calendar. But now we need to properly organize your days during the week so that you are not losing time. So the wild horse entrepreneur, they're bouncing around, not only from activity to activity, but they're bouncing around from different tasks. They're in a leadership meeting, then they're doing customer service, then they're doing some sales and marketing. And if you have an hour each of those over the course of the day, you're really only getting about 30 minutes of productivity, because you go from, I'm going to write emails to my list, but then I'm going to bounce to a podcast, then I'm going to come back and write emails to my list. But 15 minutes before the podcast, you're like, I got to shut down everything. Then you just kind of wait there for the other person to show up. And then at the end of the podcast, you might chit chat with somebody longer. You're like, man, I need to go and get on have a coffee now or something. And now it takes you 20 minutes to get back to writing emails. It's much better for you to block those tasks, to batch everything, block your time for writing, batch your meetings. We call that meeting stacking in our business, and just making sure that you have optimized your schedule. So again, we've taken somebody from the ADE formula from 60 hours to 40 hours, and now we can increase their effectiveness, maybe save another 5 hours per week and increase their output because they're working, those 35 hours are worked in blocks and batches now. And this is a game changer. We're putting boundaries in their perfect week formula so they're done work, getting home on time for their family so that they're not having problems with their spouse at night, which then eats up a lot of your mental bandwidth. Because if you're working late because your schedule is all over the place and you're not doing the automation, delegation, elimination, that pours over into home life. And your home life, if you are having fights with your spouse and then you wake up the next day and that hasn't been resolved, how effective are you going to be over the course of the day? You're not.
Won't be. Not at all.
So ADE plus perfect week formula equals massive productivity boosts. And again, I haven't taught them any sales and marketing yet. We haven't gone into the 4 high income skills. But in the first 2 weeks of working with this, as you've seen with so many of our clients, all of a sudden they are making more money, they're working less, and they're a completely different person because that stress and the weight of the world has been taken off their shoulders. And they thought they got themselves into this paycheck prison of running business, which is really a high paying job because if they're not working, the business doesn't make money. All of a sudden we flip that and it is a real business that is making money sometimes 24 hours a day, and they're able to take not only weekends off, but afternoons, days off, and finally take that vacation. Those are the frameworks that are going to set you free.
The feedback that I get from our clients, Craig, is when we implement these systems into their businesses, they're like, well, my shoulders are dropped. I'm able to breathe. I'm able to sleep better. I'm not waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning panicking because I've got these systems in place. It's very powerful.
And the reason why we built these frameworks is because I used to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning with panic attacks and had to go to the hospital, and I knew something had to change. And so we built these frameworks. And these frameworks are easily available to you. You can apply them starting today, even without us, to make big changes. If you need help, you need accountability to follow through on applying these, you need more feedback from us, and you want to scale your business from $1 million to $10 million and more, then comment coaching or scaling down below, and we will be in touch with you because you need our help, and we were put here on this earth to help you. I'm Craig Ballantyne from Early to Rise Radio, here with Goel, one of our coaches in our business, and we are going to do more videos on this hot topic coming soon.